All right, we're recording. Hello there. This is Joe from Bastion and Etheric, and I want to share one of the latest pieces I've created for a certain customer. And I'm going to ship it out tomorrow, so I have to make this video today. So I'm going to show it off. So what this is one of the newer technologies that myself and others in my group and various friends and fellow researchers have been working on. And the name that I give them is called SIGUR sigils. So SIGUR, SIGUR, which is an Icelandic word for victory. And I just like the way it sounded, and it began with an S, just like sigil. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I might not be. But it's a sort of design that you draw intuitively for a certain purpose. So if you have a target energy or a person or something you want to address, you can kind of feel the energy of that situation, and then you kind of let that guide you and let you guide it guides you to create certain designs and patterns and whatnot. And it's gone through a lot of different versions, and the way that I make these patterns or sigils, as I call them, is different than anyone else in our group. So it's something different. So before I show you the project that I've made for this person, which is a whole new direction, and I'll tell you why in a second, I'm going to show you some of my older sigils so you can kind of get a feel for what I'm talking about. So most sigils that you see out there are going to be in black and white, and many of my first ones were black and white. So here's a pretty gnarly looking piece, if you can see that okay. So this was made to address a very gnarly target, a very gnarly kind of negative thing related to, I don't know how much I should tell you, just a very particular sort of negative energy that can be used by certain individuals and can make them extra tricky to deal with. So this is meant to address, you could say, kind of the highest class of nasty out there, a very particular type. And you'll notice it looks, it's not really a happy shape, is it? It's kind of got a bunch of gnarly designs and shapes, and you got little kind of barbs and kind of things over here. Like it kind of looks almost demonic, I would say. And the reason that I have it looking this way is not to make it demonic. It's functioning in a way similar to a vaccine. So a vaccine has weakened or dead parts of viruses and whatnot, and it teaches your body to address them. This is kind of the same thing. It has pieces, kind of these negative geometries that would attract or better mesh with a negative target or energy. And so it makes it easier to latch on to certain parts of it. And then the rest of the design is pulling in from that anchor and reshaping it or transforming it or transmuting it. So it's like a vaccine. It's a visual vaccine, and it allows it to better integrate with these negative energies and then turn it inside out and process it and make it positive. So this one I made probably early this year, like I don't know how early, but winter. And yeah, gnarly little piece. And you could, it doesn't have to be seen just the one way. That's the way I kind of see it when I drew it. But honestly, it works from various angles. And maybe in my advice, if you're ever using a SIGUR sigil, is to look at it from different directions and see which way you prefer and which way feels best to you. So, yeah, just a little example. And this is, of course, meant to address a negative energy or entity, which most all sigils and things like this are. It's meant to be anti evil, it's meant to negate and nullify negativity in various ways and in very detailed ways. So, very particular target for this guy, but we found that it had many purposes. And I even created a T-shirt that has this on it, just to see what it's like to wear one, and it was pretty interesting. Maybe I'll throw that on one day for a video. Anywho, that's just an example of a SIGUR sigil. Here's another example, just showing that they tend to get more complex over time. So this is even smaller, but it's more fully packed. I'll do it over here. So this was also meant to address a very nasty type of individual. And this is kind of focusing on the nervous system and the various ways that they interact and can shape energies. Because newsflash, there are quite a few negative types of people out there, more negative than just, say, having a bad day or being a little rude. They are intrinsically, energetically negative, powerfully so, to the point where they can make you sick or anxious and so on, just being around them. And I term these individuals NOBs, or negatively oriented beings. Or you could just call them knobs if you want to make it one syllable, knobs. But yeah, this is for a very particular type of NOB or knob. And this one was quite effective. And I put this one on a t-shirt, and it actually does function as a interesting armor of sorts, and really works, even though it is quite spooky looking, I will agree. And just like the other one, you can view it from different angles, and you will find that by doing that, it does augment its effect on you a little bit. Because really, all you have to do is just kind of follow it with your eyes, maybe trace kind of the pathways and kind of follow it around, and it will process your energy much like a filter. And so if you see it in different directions, and I don't know, have I done this way yet? And different angles, you'll see that it affects you differently. Even just looking at this right now on the screen, I am actually feeling an effect from it. It's quite powerful. And for all Bastion members, you can access the fully high def, the high def version, the PDF versions of these. And I'm happy to grant you access. And you know what? I might make it free to everyone to access, because this stuff really needs to get out into the world. It can really help you if you're feeling, tired, sickened, anxious, fearful, lonely, worthless, ugly, whatever negative thing you're feeling. Using this in your daily life can actually really help, because it might be the people around you that are making those feelings worse, whether knowingly or unknowingly. So, yeah, this was a great little piece, and really helped some people out. So, I got one more to show you before I show off the piece de resistance. Am I saying that right? So this was just me experimenting with color, because they've been black and white up until, well, most people still do it in black and white. But I thought I'd try a little color out. This was made to address a very particular type of Kabbalistic magic, if I'm saying that word right. I don't know. But, from the Kabbalah, from certain Hermetic magics, there were some people being messed with, and they had a real funky feeling, and we couldn't get those spells off. So I just kind of whipped this up, and it seemed to actually strangely help, and I made it pretty quick. So some of them, they don't have to be super ornate or super complicated to have an effect. But it's just an example of colors. And, I played around with some smaller designs over here, just kind of getting into maybe making it more circuitry-like. So anyways, colors along with black and white. These were done with watercolor, if you're curious, the colors. The black is just ink. Okay, and so here's the part that I want to share with you guys. So as you can see, all those previous sigils were made to address negative or evil energies or individuals. It's meant to decloak them, to kind of take their power away and turn it into something positive. So it's all around good stuff. But this one here is made to help you heal physical issues, mental and emotional issues. It's a healing sigil. It's a support sigil. And I have not done that before. And I didn't know if it was even possible to make a sigil that could physically affect you and possibly help you heal and whatnot. So it's the first time I've tried it, but it does seem to be doing something, and I really hope it helps the person I made it for. And I have permission from this person to share this with the world, and because not everyone wants to share their sigils, but this person did. So I'm going to show it to you. It's going to look pretty wild, but here it is. So yeah, pretty wild, huh? I mean, you can't even really tell what's going on in most of this. It's just this cacophony of colors and shapes and geometries, all just kind of doing their own thing, and it's trying to focus on my face. How about if I just hide it? So Yeah, well, oops, lots going on. And so I guess where to start, I could say that the thing that inspired the basic kind of backbone of this piece, and you kind of see this thick black kind of almost branch-like thing. Well, actually, it is a branch. It was inspired by a branch that I found, yeah, on my walk home while deciding, how am I going to make this sigil for this person? And I saw it on the side of the road. It was on a patch of grass, and it was this perfect, beautiful branch, and it kind of had light moss on it, and kind of stretched out like a hand. And it was so interesting to me, and the synchronicity of finding it while trying to think of a way to make this sigil for this person seemed too perfect to be true. So I grabbed it, brought it home. I have it kind of set up on a little device in the other room. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to make that the backbone for this sigil. It just seemed perfectly placed for me to find it. I couldn't ignore it. So that's what the black parts are. It's that branch I found on that fateful day. And as for all the rest, well, there's a lot going on, and I don't really know the best way to show it to you without, I don't know, to make it to not cover anything up because it's so packed. So I guess what I can do is I can kind of walk you through this sigil and tell you what I think it's doing and the best way for you to use it to help your physical injuries, your physical um, ailments, your sicknesses, your sad emotions, your pain, your suffering, really anything. It's meant to be a tool of transformation. So again, I will mention I had no clue it would turn out like this when I started it. You just follow the energies as you're drawing, and I do teach ways of how to better embrace those skills, that sensitivity, and that intuition in Bastion. So that private group, you can always apply and try and get in. Some people get in, but yeah, it's a skill I can teach you. And pretty much once you learn to follow the energy and you just draw where you feel that the energy is calling you to go. And it's kind of easy to tell that when it's purely black and white, but when it's all these colors together, it's kind of hard to know what's going on. So I'll just walk you through it and I'll tell you my interpretation of how I guess I would use it or how I see it. It is definitely not the only way to use it, and it's may not even be the right way to use it, but it's a way to use it, and you can start with that and then make up your own ways to use it. But after seeing it finish and seeing everything kind of pop and click together, here is my interpretation. Okay. So the way I kind of see it starting in a way, at least one of the ways it can start, is over here. And you kind of see how you see it almost looks kind of like an uncomfortable, sad face in a way. You kind of have some teeth in there a little bit, almost like a chicken beak or something. You have these two eyes that kind of look, they're sad. They're kind of watery. It's just not a happy little face, is it? And you see that above it, it kind of has this nice, cool, layered blue. It's almost like a filter or some kind of fountain with all these different like levels. And it's kind of meant to bring up that whatever is, discomforting you and cool it off and smooth it out and just soothe everything and filter it a little bit. This serene kind of like falling water sort of thing going on. So to kind of cool and straighten things out. And of course, depending on your level of suffering and what you're dealing with, that's not going to be enough. Just a little bit of cooling is just kind of nice, but it's not going to really make huge change. So that's why it kind of expands up and blows up into this whole other thing. And this blue section, I really, it confuses me because I don't really know what's going on up there. I mean, it looks like we have some things folding into themselves. They also kind of twist around and unravel in ways that I can't really even know what's going on. But yeah, it's unraveling and kind of bending it around and flipping it around and twisting it and, twisting it into itself and just all this folding and rearranging. So it's kind of stretching out this blue quality, this kind of sad or depressive or whatever energy, and it's kind of flipping it on its head, sprawling it out, making it kind of go all these different ways, really giving your sadness and your exhaustion and all your negativity, it's giving it a place to stretch out and air out and cool off and or if it's cold, to kind of warm up ambiently. So you kind of have that going on above the face, but then look below it and you see it's kind of pulling. Sorry, let me get a good angle here. It's kind of pulling things down into. It's almost like this furnace sequence. Is this focusing? I can't really tell, but it's kind of like a furnace down there. So you see, it's almost like these little flames that get bigger and bigger, and then the pathway kind of widens up and expands out, and it's kind of heating it up and expanding it. And you can actually see kind of right over here, it's almost kind of like a happy face in a way. I didn't know it was kind of a face, and that's not really a face, but I almost see like a happy little duck or something. You know, you kind of see the beak over here smiling. You got the little eye, maybe like a little chubby cheek or something. You got a bunch of circuitry up here to kind of make that transition work, I suppose. But it's kind of it's a little kind of segue to say, you know, things can cheer up and things can grow bigger and bolder and fill with heat and expand and change, because fire is transformation. It's a transformative element. And so you can expand and grow and heat up and warm things, thaw them out, let them grow and expand. So that's just a couple things happening with this little face over here, but that's just a piece of what's going on. So let's take a look at this other side over here. How do I do this? It's all mirrored on the screen, so it's kind of hard for me to do this. But so you kind of see it's kind of like pure light or pure threads of yourself or pure threads from somewhere coming into this system to be processed, to be shaped, and to kind of turn the it's a mill, like a propeller or a piston. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but to kind of fill the sails of this sailboat and get things moving. So you see it comes up here all nice and straight, all uninhibited, all unprocessed. And then upon hitting this system here, hitting this sigil, it fans out and it changes shape and direction, and all this other stuff happens. So you kind of see how, the gold is the easiest to tell. It kind of fans out over here, first off, kind of like a little wing. And then on this side, actually, it also is a lot like a wing, if you could see that. It kind of fans up and stretches out into this blue, much like a wing. And I do see there's almost something kind of sort of like a bird here again. I don't know what's all the bird stuff, but I didn't intend to draw birds, I'll tell you that. But it's kind of like a little eye, a little beak, kind of the head comes back, kind of some little head feathers of some sort in a way. And then you have these wings coming out, stretching out. And you got, the gold there. You got the blue also kind of stretching out like a wing. So I just kind of find that interesting because I didn't plan it. And just, I don't know, and I have no clue what's going on in here. Like some sort of interesting processing. You got like these purple little lines. You have this blue and this black kind of detailing, maybe kind of giving nuance and texture to it, perhaps, or another way of stretching it out or crystallizing it. I couldn't say. And that's just that little section. I mean, there's a lot more going on. So up in this part, it's more purples and lavenders, trying to get this a little brighter. The lighting isn't perfect here, so you're not going to see everything, in its full color. But you do see that I have this kind of fuchsia color, and I make it very rare. I only have it in a few places that you could see, maybe like 4 or 5 instances, because it felt like such a strong, passionate color that I knew I couldn't overdo it. So I only add it in precisely where it needs to be. So yeah, I got some right over there. I got some up there. And, so I can't tell you what all these little pieces do. It is in some way processing these colors, processing this light. And again, it's kind of shooting out. So it's kind of going out this way. Not so much like a wing in that one, but there is this kind of thing of having it expand out this way. And of course, down here in the middle, there's just a bunch of stuff going on. I mean, I couldn't even tell you. I have no clue. But it's a bit like a cell, as I found that it reminds me of a cell, like a ribosome, mitochondria, especially kind of these areas. Like they have all those little folds in them, which I just found interesting. There's a lot of those little folds around here. And And really, that's just kind of it. You just kind of follow the path with your eyes, and you kind of follow any path you want, and watch it transform and change, and you kind of see these flows. It kind of flows out, but it also kind of twists into itself. So it's kind of a expanding and contracting and twisting and turning on its head. So it really is a factory of transformation, of change. So that's my slight interpretation of what's going on. Is you have this kind of blue aspects, which kind of process all that stuff, and it's flipped around, turned on its head. Because sometimes when you're depressed and when you're feeling really hurt and really small, it feels like you're drowning. You're just under all this pressure and all this blue and this stillness. And I guess this kind of shows you that that blue can be flipped and pushed around and brought up into these beautiful shapes and changed into something else. So even if you feel like you're drowning, that can be processed. It can be changed. You can add heat and light to it. You can add color to it. You can turn one color into another and other shapes into each other. So my advice for how to use a healing sigil like this is to look at it when you're feeling your most distressed and you're feeling your saddest, and you need to give that feeling to this. Let it process it for you. Okay? Because that's what it's made to do. And I'm trying to get this to be a good color, but it keeps changing. I guess that's the best I'm going to do, even though I like orange, but I can be orange for a bit. I don't mind. So when you're feeling that and you feel it in your heart, you don't often feel like you have a place to give it, a safe place to put it. You just feel like you got to kind of lock it in there. But with a sigil like this, you have a place to put it now. It's not going to hurt anyone. It's going to be transformed. It's like a blood transfusion in a way. You can pour that feeling into this filter and kind of pool it out along these pathways and feel it become stretched and filtered and processed. And then once it does that a little bit, you can take it back in and take in that clean, happier, pure energy, and just feel lighter and feel healed. Just by looking at it, really, it's doing work on you. Just follow it and trace it with your eyes. Just follow the shapes and feel its texture. And that's really how it works. It's a filter for your energy. It's a filter for your body. So the way you're feeling, you can pool that onto here. And if you have injuries or health concerns or anything that is bothering you, feel the pain of having that and give it away. Give it to this and let it hold it for you. Let it process it for you. And you will be surprised at how effective that can be. So that is my advice on how to best use this. Allow it to be a sponge, a filter, a bank, if you will, to store that pain and to store your health issues into. And watch it become strained like you're straining noodles or something, and twisted and pulled like taffy. It's like a massage. You're being transformed, turned on its head, and pulled inside out, airing everything out so it can cool off, so it has space to breathe. Because when we feel at our worst, we feel like a dense little ball full of like needles or something. And it feels so dense and so heavy that you feel there's no way you can pull it apart or change it or look at it. It's just all encompassing. But this is the opposite. It's expanding it out. You see all this wing stuff. It's like wings unfurling and going up towards the sky, or like a flower blooming open and allowing all the petals to taste the air and to just live open and feeling and loved and loving. Of course, you can look at it in various different ways, and it will have kind of various different effects depending on how you see things moving and how you prefer it. And it's always a good idea to try different angles and see which one you prefer. There's many different ways to look at this and to utilize it. And you will feel different ways if you look at it from different angles. And just strain yourself through it. Imagine it's a mesh and you're kind of billowing through it like smoke. And it will catch all the things that perturb you, that give you pain, and give permission for it to be taken away and processed. Give permission for it to be filtered and transformed. You know? Allow it to be cooled and sucked off you like a nice AC, blows the sweat off you, and allow it to be taken and processed and really flipped around and twisted and aired out. And at the same time, imagine that you can open up and expand and feel warmth and golden heat and golden light. And then it can transform into all these colors and all these geometries and all this beauty. That can be you, and it is you. You just have to remember. So that's one way to use this sigil, and that's just a couple things to think about as you're looking at it and as you're making use of it. And if you are healing other people, maybe you're a Reiki healer or just healing people in your various ways, this can be a healing tool for you to use on others as well. You can filter other people's injuries, other people's issues through this remotely. You don't even have to be there in the room with them. You can just kind of connect to their energy and strain it through this. And that is a skill, again, that I teach on Bastion with other devices, but it can be done with sigils as well. It's a universal filter that can be used to heal really anything, to change anything, physical, emotional, mental. I don't know about spiritual, but give it a shot, So that's really it. And I will provide high quality images of this so you can kind of download onto your phone and look at it whenever you need. I will provide it to Bastion members first, but I am feeling pretty generous today. So I may open it up to the whole world and just allow everyone to have a high quality image of this at some point soon. So yeah, that's really it, and I really hope it helps the person that I made this for, and thankfully this person has given permission for others to use it. So yeah, and it's a beautiful thing actually, because the more people that use this and make use of it, it will actually grow stronger as more energy passes through it, and as it helps more things, take them apart, put them back together, and as more hearts open and as more healing on the planet occurs, it will kind of crystallize and grow. It kind of has various hearts kind of tied to it in a little way, and we strengthen each other through it. It will kind of take on a life of its own. It will become a paradigm of its own and grow in strength the more people that use it and the more that you use it. So it's like a catalyst that kind of grows. It's an enzyme that can be used infinite times. And unlike an enzyme, it gets better with time. So, yeah, feel free to use it for yourself and for anyone. Just think about that person and using your remote healing skills. And if you have your own, use those. And if you don't, apply to Bastion and join us, and I'll teach you how. Before I end this video, I actually have one more thing to show you. It's a device made to pair with the sigil, which no one has done yet, as far as I know. So this is another type of technology. We've been doing stuff like this for a good few years now. It's normally called just hardware cloth, or abbreviated as HC, because that's a name for this material. Otherwise, you could see it as animal fencing, maybe for chickens or for pigs or something. I don't call it hardware cloth, though. I call this a sigil work antenna. So sigil work, which is all one word, sigil work, and antenna. You could also abbreviate it as SWA or a SWA if you want. So you could call this a SWA. I know it's kind of a dumb name, but it's also kind of fun. And I like things being fun. So I'm going to keep it. Excuse me. So what the hell is this? So this thing, it's a steel fencing that I've cut to a size, and you cut it in various ways and twist it in various ways as to move, direct, capture, and twist energy. So you'll see that it has kind of various directions. Sometimes it folds into a 3D plane, so it's not all 2D. It does kind of fold out sometimes, like those little hooks there. And on the ends especially, you see how they kind of fold out. So it really is pushing and pulling and twisting energy in all these different directions. And this is created also, much like a sigil. You kind of feel around for where the energy is strong, and then you kind of I guess, hypothesize and feel where it would be best to be cut. And you use your intuition and you use your dowsing. And it's a skill that you can build up and become better at. So it becomes much easier. And once you feel where it needs to be cut, you cut it and you bend it to just the amount that it wants to be cut. You got to follow the energy and let it guide you. And that's what led to this. So I've made a bunch of these by themselves. I have like, I don't even know, 2 dozen. I don't even know how many. I have so many of these, and they're in different sizes and shapes and square sizes. There's bigger, there's smaller. But what's unique about this one is it actually is meant to pair with the sigil. So this has never been done before. There's never been a sigil that's had an antenna custom made to work with it and it alone. I mean, this antenna will work by itself, but its true strength comes from pairing together with this. So now you're having energy being transformed and moved in two different ways, one through metal and through fields that interact with the metal and the kind of resonance and the space of those squares. And then you have kind of more of a intellectual, color-based, geometry-based visual therapy, which comes from viewing the sigil. And it kind of has its own magic, which we don't fully understand yet. For some reason, I can keep creating these. Not everyone can. But as long as I'm given an energy, a target to connect to, and a goal, I just connect to it, and I kind of ask my higher self and my various aspects of myself and divinity in general, help me make something, help me make a vaccine, help me make a design that will help X, that will help with this negative energy, or that will help with this person or whatever. And I'm just guided, and somehow it works. And I have various tips and exercises in Bastion, but we can't get into that right now. It's just too much. There's too much to discuss for those techniques. But yeah, so it's a unique pairing of visual magic and engineering and metallic magic, or antenna magic, you could say. So this is one way it can be held. It kind of holds it. It's a nice little way to store it. But I think the most powerful way this is combined is if it's facing, oops, sorry for that little stutter. If it's facing the sigil, and this already, just me looking at this off the screen, I can feel a significant increase in power. So this is combining two different ways to pull and shape and twist and direct energy. So it boosts its range and its power because this is literally an antenna, the metal. And it also, they piggyback off each other and they strengthen each other. And it is just buzzing right now. It is quite strong. But you know what? It gets stronger. So here's how you can augment this to make its power even more powerful. So, being metal, those that are aware of orgone and orgone energy and just various subtle energy devices, metal attracts it in and it can conduct it, kind of like electricity or like EMF a little bit. So if you were to pair ether and put it on here, you can soup it up even more. Oops. I don't know where to stick this guy. All right, let's put it there. So you can kind of plug things into it like a circuit board, and it can latch onto those energies and conduct them. And it allows it to carry even more resonance of energy and even more varied energies and types of energies. And if you can put different devices on here, of course, using your intuition and feeling where the energy wants it to go for maximum strength, that will give you a truly powerful device that will have definite huge effects on you and your surroundings and whatever you mentally link it to. It becomes a very smart kind of radionic device in a way, very smart and very keen on grabbing into energies. That's what the antenna excels at. It can grab in like a little hook to various energy fields and just latch on and then process it. So, and if you don't have intuitive skills and you can't feel energy too well, just put the ether somewhere. You could also use crystals. You could use whatever energy devices you like or personal items that you like. Of course, ether is the best choice. It is very, very powerful and very cognitively entwined. It reacts well to intention and human consciousness. So it's a perfect pairing for this, and it will just go nuts with power. Of course, I also have my new 3D printed ether. So this can be programmed as it's printing, which is a new breakthrough. So this is also giving off significant energy and is quite strong. And of course, this will be offered in my shop soon. It's not yet, but it's coming. And so you can also use 3D printed devices. Oof, now that is strong. Because this thing is also kind of like its own antenna, like an extra dimensional kind of, I don't know what you even call this. It's a Voronoi, and I'm probably not saying that word right. There's a lot of words in this video I'm probably not saying right. But Voronoi, or Voronoi, it's kind of a biological patterning, kind of like bubbles or cells. So, anyways, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. But there's so many ways you can soup this up, and I'm very excited to see where this technology goes and where this approach goes. And so for the person I designed this for, who hopefully is watching this, I really hope this helps you out. And I'm very thankful that you allowed me to share it with the world so that it can help others out too. So please put everything you have into this. Whatever you want to be changed, transformed, healed, soothed, or warmed up and kind of stretched out. If you want to feel relief and if you want to transform, this is the sigil for you. So yes, high quality images of it will be coming soon to Bastion members. I will probably open it up to the public eventually. And if this appeals to you, you could always try and commission one of your own. But this took me over a month to create. Just the sigil by itself. The antenna was its own little thing. So they are not cheap. All right. And I don't have a ton of free time because I'm kind of running a lab back here. I got a lot of new technologies I'm working on and various things. But if you really feel attached to this and you will really feel like you need one for a certain purpose, talk to me and we'll figure something out. I might already have a sigil that might work for you because I have a lot more than what I'm showing you here. With that, I guess we're done here. I just wanted to share this with you. And I just want you guys to remember, you can transform. You can change yourself. Everything in the universe is energy. Every single thing. And being energy, it can be transformed with an energetic tool, which is what this is. Of course, you can always use ether to help transform yourself because it is an energy accumulator and it's also an energy processor. It processes and changes things to a positive, beneficial state. So you got your energy device technology. You have your resonant 3D printed energy, subtle energy technology. You have your sigils, that can guide and shape and transform energy almost magically just by looking at them. Even just leaving it in a room, it is transforming the energy of a room. It's really a machine, a visual machine. And of course, we have antennas and the like as well, which move and transform energy in their own unique way. You are energy. If you embrace and study with and practice and perfect your interaction with energies and energy tools, you can transform yourself. It doesn't matter what is wrong with you or what you feel is wrong. Whether you're sick, whether you feel you're too short or too fat or too whatever, if you feel like you're ugly or worthless or not worthy or you deserve to be alone or whatever, anything can be transformed because it's all energy. Your thoughts, your feelings, your body, this world, it can be transformed through energy. So if this is a, daring concept to you, please stick around and let me change your mind. There's many videos on YouTube and many places you can look that describe how everything is energy and how you can transform it. But I just hope you embrace that. And if you feel like you are beyond help and that nothing will ever improve for you or change for you, please watch this video again, watch the sigil, embrace what I'm telling you. And, if nothing else, get yourself a free sample. I have free samples of ether in my shop on etheric.org, and I'll have a link in my description. So at least get yourself a tool and start using those to transform your energy. And there's so many other ways you can do it, but at least start somewhere. And if you do that, you would be so surprised at how far you can go and what you can change. So with that, I'm going to finally let you guys go. I don't know how long this video is, but it's probably too long. I hope you enjoyed this peek at the sigil that's going to be leaving my house tomorrow. So sad. I've really enjoyed having it around, and it's been a real joy to work on. Very frustrating I'm not used to balancing all these colors. I'm not used to color. I'm not an artist. I'm really not an artist. I doodle cartoons and stuff, and I just found I'm kind of good at this, and now I make these. Maybe you'll make them someday too. And if you feel like you resonate with this, come talk to me. Come apply for Bastion. If you have talents that are suitable for this, we would love to have you, because we're out there to better ourselves, better our technologies, and save the world and save everyone we love. So it might be the place for you. So I hope you enjoyed this sharing, and I will see you when the next Great Sigil comes around. So until then, have a good morning, afternoon, or night.